we are. Hey, it's Mike Monnot. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fantastic. Thanks. I'm super excited that we're able to talk about businesses in Florida. The world is exploding in Florida, Mike. What's going on? Everyone is moving to your state.
Yeah, I guess it's just gravity. Everybody's coming down. No state taxes and, maybe a little politics, weather, a little bit of everything. So
you got it all. Florida has it all. Alligators, swamps, Disney World. What else could a person want?
Yeah.
So let's chat a little bit about this, because as I tell people who are calling me, I think the world is going to start tipping on the axis of Florida. So many people are moving to Florida. E2 investors, for sure, they're all asking about Florida, no matter where they're coming from. Europe, Canada, Central and South America, everywhere. Everybody's going to Florida. And everybody wants to buy a business. So tell us a little bit about what's going on. What are the trends in kind of E2 quality businesses in Florida?
Yeah, so finally, post-COVID, things are, going buyers' ways a little bit better than before. So what happened was a lot like the housing economy. A lot of those small businesses, people were moving down and those got swept up. And all of a sudden there was not a whole lot of listings. One of the things that I did to check before is we have our business brokers of Florida. We're sitting at about 800 some agents, and we have about 2.7 listings per agent, which you can see is still kind of low, but it's better than it was before. And then, the small businesses are starting to come back. So on the Gulf Coast, so about 40% of them are still at 250,000 or under. So in that sweet visa range. But the trends are still, just like Florida always has been, is there's a lot of money, but not a significant amount of industry. So, it's the service industries that are, on fire right now. So if you're looking at, any HVAC, plumbing, cleaning, lawn type businesses, all of those things are killing it. And, we just we're about to put one under contract, a woodworking shop, they're just doing cabinets, but, nobody can keep up. So it's a fantastic spot to be able to come buy a business, have immediate business. So it's fantastic.
Yes. I think that's kind of a worldwide trend. People who are in the home services industry, right? Remodeling, that kind of stuff, anything to do with, hey, something's wrong in my house, air conditioning, roofing, I need new windows, whatever. That's backed up, it seems like, across the country. So that's a really interesting tip. I always tell my clients, get a service-based business, because it takes so much less time and is so much less expensive than getting something like a restaurant or a salon or something. Obviously, I say, hey, if this is your American dream to open a restaurant, go for it. But if you're just trying to find a business that could work, that would make money, that would be a great business, head for services. So I think that's really something really interesting kind of at this point that you brought up. So, I just had a brand new client start yesterday that just bought like a pool route, right? That's kind of something like that. I'm assuming you're seeing those types of things. And that's kind of just what you mentioned. And the price point you said are mostly under 250-ish or something. Let's talk a little bit more about pricing. Is there a premium now because there's so little inventory generally, or how's that working?
So the first time in a couple of decades, we've actually seen multiples increase a little bit over COVID, which was a bit unique. So, typically you go in, say, this type of business, whether it be manufacturing, restaurant, gets a 2.5 or 3x multiples, and we were seeing those industries definitely pushing the boundaries more so than others. So I would say that, yeah, just like everything else, unfortunately, there's a little bit of an increase, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But I presume also that there's an increase in revenues, as you mentioned, right? A lot of people waiting to get stuff done to their house.
Correct, yeah. We definitely have a lack of, let's say, workers here in Florida, without question, compared to the amount of people that are here and coming here that want services done. Absolutely. And then you couple that, with a couple of things like with the politics, with the immigration bill that's kind of pushing some Hispanics to move out of the area. So again, it's less work or less workers, more work. And that should in turn also be it's been allowing people to increase their prices over the last couple of years as well, increasing the bottom line. So it's a benefit to business owners, not necessarily on the other side of the coin, but
Well, something that you said earlier was interesting to me, which was that there's a lot of money in Florida. And that's true because a lot of the people that have moved there since 2020, a lot of New Yorkers, people from Philadelphia area, Boston area, things like that are just looking for, frankly, better weather, more space, that kind of thing. They retire, they bring their money with them, they still own houses, they still have all of these things. So it seems like it's a really interesting time, as you mentioned, kind of for buyers to get something started and actually be really successful at it.
Yeah, you average the amount of people and the average income, and you couple that with the average age. So you can see certain areas of Marco Island, an average age of 80 years old, downtown Naples 70, Sarasota 60, 65. Those people have money and they're not outside mowing their lawn. They're not installing cabinets themselves. These are the people that are going to pay for those services. Absolutely.
So there's really an opportunity. Now, as we know, Florida is a very big state, lots of different, there's the St. Augustine and Miami and Tampa and Jackson, all over the place. Where are you seeing as kind of the hot place right now?
I think it's every place.
Really?
Yeah, we're starting to, Miami's full, Fort Lauderdale's full. It's starting to push into St. Lucie County on the East Coast. On the Gulf Coast, it's kind of the same thing where you have that southern portion where Naples is kind of full. They can't build a whole lot more eastward, and you're just seeing it fill up the state from the bottom up, just like pouring some water into a glass. It's just slowly rising.
That's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
so just as just out of pure curiosity and weirdness, are the Keys seeing anything? Do people move to the Keys?
Yeah, people do, but the Keys are it's a very different life.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. There's not a lot of land mass. I would say 95% of the people are in the service industry. So I see a lot of people, having 2, 3, 4 jobs or having multiple roommates. You have to think of it as like a microcosm. It's like downtown New York City. It's just this little rock that everybody wants to be on, and there's not a whole lot of space.
Yeah, it's wild. That was always kind of a question for me as a person who has never lived but traveled to the Keys. I always wondered who lives on the Keys, but anyway, there we go. So what other information can you give us? What are some kind of recent businesses that you have sold that were kind of interesting to you, or something kind of unique maybe to Florida, or at least to this market?
Well, I don't know that there's a whole lot that's unique. Again, we sell lawn businesses down here, and that's obviously something unique to certain countries. Like Germany doesn't quite understand that concept of mowing, having lawn services. Yeah. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. It's the main drivers are restaurants, automotive garages are in huge demand. Anything in the construction side. Cleaning, it's the general service area that gets hit the most.
Interesting. So let me ask you this: if you were buying a business right now in Florida specifically, what would you be looking for?
Well, it depends on the background of the person, but one of the things that I always advocate for is that if someone has anything in the medical field for experience. There's anything from medical transportation, assistance with medical licensing, home care. There's so many things that you can get into, and so many people willing to pay for those services.
Yeah, I've seen that as a trend as well. Not only certainly, right now I'm working on a cleaning service. I'm working on, as you mentioned, a cleaning business. I'm working on a pool business. These are kind of Florida businesses. a variety of other things as well. One of my past clients did a roofing business in Florida, that type of thing. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Oh, property management through the roof as far as short-term rentals, things like that. Oh my gosh, now I forgot what I was going to say. What were we just talking about? A business that you were going to buy, or that you would consider buying. Oh, home health. Home health. Oh my God. Because something you mentioned several questions ago, average age 80 years old, average age 70 years old, average age 65 years old, lots of retirees down there. And this is something that I see nationwide, people getting into like the home health, that type of area. Obviously, nurses are always in demand.
Yep.
So, that's a great job to have too, outside of the E2. But for E2, I've definitely seen that trend as well. People getting into home health because people are going to need that and they have the money. It's not like when our grandparents were 80 and 90 years old, right? Or the generations before. People want to stay at home. They don't want to go to a nursing home or what have you. And so they're really interested in those services. I think it's a great business. Have you seen some success with that with people you've sold to?
Yeah, 100%. Even some adult daycares are starting to pop up and starting to sell. So just kind of, the 9 to 5, get grandma or grandpa out of the house to do some things, some socializing. So yeah, absolutely all levels. People will pay for grocery services or other ancillary services. There's a ton of things that you can do, again, so it's just, sometimes it's just somebody looking at it from a different angle, bring a good idea, add something onto a business. There's lots that can be done.
Absolutely. And some of these things, particularly in Florida, and maybe you have a little bit more information about this than I do, but some of these things do require licensing, but some of them you can have employees that are licensed and that works for license. So that's something, don't be intimidated necessarily by that. Just do a little bit of research, because sometimes as long as you have like a full-time employee that has a license, it could work. Or if you have a business partner, even if they're a very small minority partner with a license, that could work as well. I'm sure you've seen that type of thing with E2s and beyond, right? Yeah,
so I've been told a lot of times that Florida is kind of unique in that aspect. So it's extremely easy to get a license qualifier, is what you call it. So again, if you wanted to buy a roofing business, which is again fantastic, roofs flying off every year or two, with a couple of nice hurricanes. So, getting a little extra work. But it's simply just finding a person, some paperwork, paying a fee, and you can own your own real estate company. You can own your own medical facility, your own construction company, whatever is needed. It's very simple to do if you have the skills. Again, I wouldn't want to be a general contractor with no experience, but if you have experience in that field from where you're coming from, you can absolutely get a qualifier and run that type of business. And then there's licenses, for instance, here called the 𝐷KA license, AHCA, which kind of patches the gray area in the medical industry that allows a non-industry buyer to be able to own a home medical business. So there's definitely ways. So again, I always implore, if there's questions, if you don't think that you can do it, just ask. There's usually a way to do it down there. It's pretty easy.
I totally agree with that. And I tell people, don't let these little hurdles kind of stand in your way. There's always a way to get it done, right? And sometimes I even tell people, listen, start off doing some of the stuff you don't need a license for. Then once you get to Florida or wherever, take the test, do what you need to do, and start offering additional services that do need licenses. I mean, if that's kind of the way that it works or needs to work, whatever, there's always kind of a way to kind of make that work. Overall, Mike, you and I talked maybe a year ago. Things kind of seemed a little bleak. Things were taking a longer time. The inventory was low. It sounds like inventory's still low, but a little bit better. What are the kind of trends right now, just overall in the business purchasing, business selling market in Florida?
Well, with interest rates hiking, it tends to take out certain types of buyers, and unfortunately those buyers are usually the under $1 million buyers. So I think you're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown in that under that under 7-figure market. A few more are coming onto the market, allowing, a few more additional choices. So again, most of our visa buyers are, all cash or mostly cash, with a little bit of seller financing. So it doesn't affect them nearly as much as it would somebody coming from another state needing an SBA loan.
Right.
So, the rates have essentially doubled over the past year and a half.
Right. But that's an interesting point, because obviously SBA loans will not work for E2 visa investors for a multitude of reasons. However, right, so they're coming in mostly with cash, all cash or mostly cash. So that may be something where the E2 investors would have an advantage over just US buyers for something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the past, and especially over the last few years with things moving so quickly, again, sellers didn't want to wait for the E2 clause for a buyer to get the visa. But again, you're going to start to see that flip, and, sellers are going to be a little bit more willing to work with people again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I think that as inventory increases, this COVID thing, I don't have to tell you and everybody watching, was a friggin' mess. And it's going to take us a couple of years to get out of it. I think things are loosening. Just what I've seen on my end. It sounds like on your end as well. Yep. But, it may still take another year or two to kind of get back. But I think something you really point out, inventory is going up. E2 investors do have the advantage because they're coming in with cash or almost all cash. And service-based businesses are hot, not only right from the buyer's perspective, but they have the opportunity to really grow these businesses quickly with the new population moving to Florida. That also means they don't have a guy, right? Somebody who's lived there for 20 years probably has a guy that deals with the roof and the lawn and the pool and the whatever. A lot of these new people don't have a guy, need somebody to do whatever, maintenance and all of these things, have the money, are either coming there to retire, or they come from California, where everything in Florida is a bargain, and they've got kind of some money lying around, and maybe they do need a job, but they're going to wait a year or two to find the perfect thing. They still are flush with cash. They need people to help them do a variety of things. I think it sounds like a really interesting time in Florida for E2 investors.
Yeah, and here's even the beautiful thing. Even if somebody does have a guy, everything is taking so long. There's still some things that are backed up. There's so many people in here looking for services that, again, going back to the cabinet, there's a lot of people on lists for 6, 12, 18 months. If you can produce work in 2, 3, 4 months, that's going to give you again, if you're not feeling confident with the amount of work in a pipeline, you can build it very quickly. But you can have that immediate jumpstart because there is going to be that element that is going to say, I'm not going to wait 12 months for my cabinets. If you can do it in 2, you're going to get the business, That's
right. I have to tell you, my office that you can kind of see the background of, I have been waiting. I think I had my first person come look at it to bid on it in August. I had another one come in February. They don't even send the bids because they're like, we don't even have so now I'm just waiting. So it's been, 9 months since I had somebody come over here, and there's no whisper of them coming back. So I totally feel that pain. Everybody's so backed up because they had to take some months off at the very beginning of COVID. Then it was another year of, we can't get the supplies. We can't, so sitting around waiting on that. And then it was just all of that backup. It's been crazy. So I can attest to that for sure. Any other kind of final thoughts about, if you were kind of an E2 investor, what you'd be looking at or what they should kind of be looking out for? Any kind of don't do this or don't do that or anything like that?
Well, yeah. So, we're kind of in that environment of, when you say what not to look for, we're in the environment where I think that you can start to overlook some of those things just for the fact that, some sellers are so burnt out that their numbers may have gone down. They may not have worked as hard as they could have or should have. But again, it's if you have to overpay for a business a little bit, if it's a business that you like, I think that you can recoup those costs so quickly with just a little bit of a hard work, being able to take some additional accounts, whatever the case is. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like everything. It's going to depend on industry, but, you know, you just have to understand where you are in this time and place, what's happening, and kind of roll with the punches. And that's where we're at the moment. And it could change in 2 or 3 months, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that absolutely. You never know what will happen over the summer or anything like that. But I think that's great. So Mike, if I were an E2 investor, or for some of the people who have joined, who are clients and that type of thing, where can they contact you to get more information about some of these businesses for sale in Florida?
Absolutely. So the best place is to start with our website. So we have hundreds of articles, all short, so you can kind of find some quick answers of what you're looking for. And we have our MLS system, so I have a couple thousand businesses on our website. You can contact us directly and converse through there. So infinitybusinessbrokers.com. My email is mike@infinitybusinessbrokers.com, and phone number 941-518-7138, on WhatsApp as well. So
fabulous. Well, and you know, I send people to you, and that hopefully we get a lot of stuff going after this Instagram live too. I think Florida is an amazing location for people. Everyone is loving it, and it sounds like things are kind of looking up there as far as the buyer's market goes. So let's do it.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you. And thanks everyone for joining. If you want to speak to me about E2 visas, rupertlawgroup.com, @rupertlawgroup.com. If you want to talk to Mike about buying businesses, Mike at infinitybusinessbrokers.com with an S at the end. And thanks everyone. See you soon. Thanks, Mike. Talk soon.
Thank you.